Okay, here in round two, we've got the one lander. I don't think this, I mean, yeah, I can consider it for a couple seconds because, we've got like the emissary if I draw any land or they anticipate if I draw blue mana, but I still think it's too dangerous. We've got a relatively, a curve that's going to necessitate needing some mana, so let's mulligan. All right, this is a significantly better hand, so pretty satisfied with this. We're going to start off with the Palace Familiar, I'm assuming. All right, land draws are good. So, I guess depending on what he plays, he could go like Mardu Scout, and then maybe I'd want to do Emissary instead, because I'd prefer to get like the early creature, Humbled Effector. All right, let's do Emissary first. My reasoning being, if he has a removal spell, I get a creature. If I block, I get a creature. So at this point, right now, I think getting the creature is more important than getting the extra card. All right. I doubt he attacks. Okay. So I could play the Palace Familiar, but I'm going to make better use of the mana and just get the Marsh Hulk out there now. So might have to take a little bit of a beating from the Smoldering Efreet just for a turn or two. But once we get this Gravecrawler out, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. All right, Outrider. That's okay. 3 cards left in our opponent's hand. This Gravecrawler currently looks like it should be pretty amazing this game. Unfortunately, opponent does have Formidable, but I still think that's okay. Archfiend is certainly a good draw. So let's get our Palace Familiar out there and then pass. Once we get the Gravecrawler down, I'm going to feel pretty secure. Could do the Archfiend too, but Gravecrawler lets me sack. I think we're just taking this. Gravecrawler lets me block the Sabertooth Outrider too. I think it's just too important. I mean, Archfiend, if it survives, would let me do some cool stuff, but I actually like playing the Gravecrawler here. All right, that kind of motivates me to want to sack the Emissary now. 2 cards left in my opponent's hand, so I could play the Archfiend. He's going to rebound that, and if Archfiend lives, my opponent basically loses just a ton of creatures. But I'm going to play the Gravecrawler because it can block the Outrider. Yeah, it makes more sense to me. Gravecrawler just makes more sense. Yeah, and the question is, do I want to sack the Palace Familiar or the Emissary? So do I want the extra card or do I want the creature? I'm going to go with the creature here. I actually don't know which one is preferable in that spot, but for some reason having the flying blocker seems a little bit better to me. Well, Palace Familiar is not the worst card to flip on a manifest. All right, so kind of hoping if he's got removal, he uses it on Gravecrawler, because that way the Archfiend feels like much more likely to stick around here. All right, I mean, we're absolutely blocking the Outrider for sure. I'm trying to think what he's got as a combat trick. I feel like it's a Cunning Strike or something. I almost want to like just toss a Outrider in front of there too. I'm trying to think what else it could be. If it's Cunning Strike, he gets to first strike trample this down. But then I feel like putting, I mean, he's clearly got a trick. I don't want to put 2 zombies in front of it because then he just gets to not play anything and kill them both. But if it's a cunning strike that I'm playing around, which I kind of feel like it is, then I would rather just put a zombie in front of it too. I mean, I definitely want him to play whatever removal he's got here. He didn't even order it in a way that's sensible. That's just weird. I don't know what that was. Wow. Straight board wipe. It's pretty impressive. Why do I not get to draw from the Palace Familiar? Oh, because I still have my Palace Familiar. That's a pretty good reason. All right. Well, let's go Archfiend. Seems correct to me. All right. It's pretty harsh because we're kind of behind at the moment. Quite a bit behind, actually. But I certainly can't do anything about what he's done the last couple turns, so no choice, really. Maybe he clicks past the Archfiend, too. This trigger is a tricky one. If you click past it, you just lose everything. I'm a little bit bummed he got value like that. But let's anticipate first. Look for something flying would be ideal. I'd love a Vulturous save in here. Lotus Path Djinn, a very close second. So let's play that. And then we'll pass. I can play the land, but I have enhanced awareness, so might as well hold on to it. I mean, that sucks that he pretty clearly has a combat trick, but I think at this point I need to just stay alive, so. Oh, or he doesn't have a combat trick? Or my computer froze? What? Alright, that was weird. Oh, summons number 2. Okay. Ooh, Butcher's Glee's pretty big here. We're going to attack with the Archfiend. So the question is, do I want a Butcher's Glee now? And just... Yeah, I think I kind of do. Here's the thing. If I don't Butcher's Glee, my opponent also could have a Whisk Away, but if I don't Butcher's Glee here, and my opponent, say, gets in for some damage and burns me out, I'm going to be pretty bummed I didn't Butcher's Glee. I could also play it defensively against a monk, but I think I'm just going to go for it. Interesting. My opponent's concessions during this 8-4 have been pretty surprising, I must say. I mean, there really is just, I mean, isn't that kind of weird? There's like nothing he could have drawn there. Doesn't that kind of tell you something? Um, did he basically, is that basically a concession that says, I have nothing that I can draw? Or is that like a, it's not worth playing it out concession? Like, I really don't understand that one. So negate can cover seismic rupture, which I didn't realize was so good against our deck, but I kind of want to bring it in case and ice for a reduce in stature. I certainly don't want to play a reduce in stature on Ojutai's token, but in case and ice on a 4-2 trample first striker or whatever could actually be really good. More ground blockers, more air blockers. I'm not exactly sure. Do I want to bring in negate? Is a question. Like for an anticipate, perhaps. We know he's got seismic rupture, but oh, he's got yeah. He's got double Ojutai summons. Yeah, I think we bring in negate. 2 mana to stop summons is pretty big. Granted, I maybe could cut something else besides anticipate, but I don't mind the anticipate cut. Maybe reduce in stature just sucks against my opponent. What am I playing it on? A 4-2? Our opponent seems aggressive enough where reduce in stature is just pretty unimpressive. I'd rather have the anticipate. I'd rather have the early play that finds something good. I like anticipate a lot, as you can tell. I don't know if I overvalue it, but I think it's a great card. I like I like keeping busy in the beginning of a game a lot. All right, I don't think there's anything else to consider really, so let's just try this again. This is a great hand. I really like this one a lot. We get to keep busy early, which is really great. We have a solid turn progression, and we just drew a pretty nice spell too. I guess we have a little bit of vulnerability to seismic rupture, but we have negate, so. And I can still comfortably play Sultai Emissary into a seismic rupture, which is pretty awesome too. Vulturous Haven was a good draw there for sure. I guess we kind of walk into a Twin Bolt, but I'm not even that concerned about that. Even if he kills the Emissary, getting a 2-2 out of it is not that bad for us. It's not like a hyper... The problem is next turn I don't feel comfortable playing Interceptor into a seismic rupture. Even with his missing a land draw there, I really do not feel comfortable playing a Ojutai Interceptor. He basically would get enough value where I just don't like it. I don't like it, so I'm not going to do it. All right. So now we swing with Shambling Goblin, and I sack Emissary, I think, to Vulturous Haven. Could actually swing with both. Because I think he blocks Emissary, and then I sack Goblin. I'm actually going to do that. This seems correct to me. Like, here's what happens. I get a thing. I guarantee kill his morph. I lost 1.5 cards, kind of. Not even really. Like, I feel like this is worth it for sure. And it was a Tarkir free? Yeah, that could not have been that was amazing for us. We would have lost a lot of value to a Tarka F8. Next turn we get Archfiend 2, which is just pretty high pressure situation. So I think we've got to slam the Archfiend. Definitely forces him to deal with it. We're slightly ahead on the race, but I still kind of want to leave the Manifest back to block the Outrider. So I think we're just going to swing here, play the Archfiend, and pass. I mean, I could also play Sure Shot, and then next turn, Palace Familiar Lotus Path Gen, or Palace Familiar Interceptor. That's probably better. Gives me some removal. Archfiend, if he has Tail Slash, that's pretty bad for us. I'm going to play around removal. I'm actually going to play the Sure Shot first. Like I said, he has to deal with Sure Shot, and if he does deal with Sure Shot, I've got Archfiend. So I kind of like it more. Like he can Seismic Rupture here after attacks, deal a little bit of trample damage to us, but it's not even like that bad. All right, Behemoth, not hyper intimidating. He does have his formidable. Shouldn't he have attacked there? That's actually weird. I expected him to attack there. Ooh, negate is pretty nice actually. Let's go double flyer. That plays around Seismic Rupture pretty well. So now we're not super vulnerable to Seismic Rupture either, which is nice. Next turn I can play Interceptor, leave up Negate, or I can play Archfiend Depravity. Well, I guess we got the match, so I'm not sure exactly what opponent had in his hand, but not a lot of plays to be made. These have been very unusual 8-4 matches, I gotta say. It feels like very preemptive concessions. Match 1 was just, at this point, I'm just assuming my opponent had an emergency and had to leave. Because, I mean, it was just match concession after game 1 in a position where my opponent wasn't even in a really bad spot at all. I mean, he was in a semi-bad spot because we had just, like, sort of developed a better board state. But it definitely was a preemptive concession. And then this match, my opponent, I feel like same sort of deal. It was like unwillingness to look for or draw into answers. Not that I mind. We made it to the finals of an 8-4, which means at the very least our next draft's going to be an 8-4 too, which is good, but it's just strange nonetheless. All right, let's go ahead and move into round 3.